We are in excess of 10 minutes right now, and I do want to allow Officer Tavares to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and I hope that we will have a favorable response from our county manager and our lawyer and from the county commission.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Corporal Tavares. I actually work for the city animal welfare department, but I am a county resident. Some of the problems we see in the city are specific because our ordinance doesn't address, like, the space requirement, for instance. It just is adequate space. We've actually lost court cases because it's not defined what adequate space is.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Brush.
And when you say our ordinance, you're talking about?
I'm talking about the city ordinance, and the county ordinance is pretty close to the same. It uses a lot of the same language. Adequate space. It doesn't give an actual size requirement.
Give a recommendation of what you're thinking.
Well, we used to have square footage by the pound for the animal in our old ordinance, and that was done away with. We just went to adequate space requirement for the temperament or type of animal. And we had a dog on a fixed point chain. We cited him for that. He went and bought a kennel at one of the hardware stores, just a commercial kennel, put that up, and it was actually smaller than the area the dog had on the chain.
But setting aside the fixed point chains, the trolley systems, isn't there a formula so that we don't have what we see in the pictures here where the animals are hanging themselves? Is there
as far as the city?
Well,
or
is there a recommend? Gene, do you have a rough?
They did have at least 200 square feet.
200 square feet
recommendation.
Okay, that's fine.
But and being specific with square footage will make it to where the ordinances can be enforced in court, because we've lost cases because they're so vague.
Commissioner Wiener.
Thank you very much. Corporal?
Yes, sir.
Corporal Tavares, thank you very, very much for being here. I appreciate it. I've not met you before, and I really appreciate you being here this evening. I just wanted to say, have you had a chance to look through the recommendations?
I actually have, sir.
And you agree with these?
I do.
Okay. Would you be willing to, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but would you be willing to help us if the commission wants to make these changes and make these definitions more?
Definitely more.
So that we can prevail in court and try to deal with some of these?
Yes, sir.
Help with our legal system?
I'd be more than happy to aid in any way I can.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Officer Yan.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Brush.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask Ralph a question or two, and I'll make it very brief. Ralph, so the most pressing need that we now, it sounds like there are a couple things that really must be done quickly, and could you just identify 1, 2, 3, 4, what are 4 some of the really most pressing needs?
I think the most pressing thing is getting into specifics as to what the definitions are. When we put the original ordinance together with the Commission and with Animal Care, we use words adequate, sufficient, necessary, which are very subjective. And I think the amendment clarifies those specific terms so they would stand up in court. And those were recommendations that I had received from both the Bernalillo District Attorney, City Councilor, and we spoke with several judges on both Metro and District Courts. And they say that's what the principal problem is. You don't define the specifics of it, and it then becomes very subjective. And I think that's everything that's in there, everything that's in the amendment for 645 and 658 is just clarification of the terminology that is used in the ordinance, and it basically states what we had discussed back in 2008 when the ordinance was originally passed.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Thank you for your work on this.
And we thank the Commission for your time.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wiener, and I'm going to wrap
Yes.
it up now.
Thank you. Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very, very much for all of you for listening. I appreciate very much the people who are compassionate and concerned about the welfare of those who are not able to speak for themselves from being here this evening. I know it takes a lot of time and effort and dedication to do what you do, and you're not being compensated. You're not here for the wrong motive, and I appreciate very much your willingness to come down and share your views, even if you didn't speak, just by being here. We appreciate that. I would like very much to, hopefully the will of the Commission is to move forward with making some changes here that make it easier to enforce this ordinance, and I'd like to work closely with legal to try to get that done so we can bring this up at our next meeting. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I echo those same sentiments. Just so that all of you are aware, and the viewing public as well, we take these matters very, very serious. We also have seen conditions where animals weren't cared for appropriately. And unfortunately, the 2080 rule applies in this case as it does in most things that we have to deal with in society. 80% of the folks do a great job with their animals. It's that small percentage that doesn't that makes it tough. I'd like to make a recommendation to the manager related to these issues because we do take them, I take them very seriously. And so I'm going to read something that I prepared that I would instruct that the manager undertake. Mr. Manager, given the diverse culture, socioeconomic structure, and the rural and urban settings that make up the unincorporated areas of Bernalillo County, I would like to seat a review committee to conduct a review of the animal care ordinance. This group should include a balance of the advocates who have appeared before us today, as well as people who raise or board livestock, a veterinarian, animal breeders, an attorney, the animal care department director, and people from various areas of the county. I believe that the committee should be made up of 7 individuals. I would ask each commissioner to get the name of one individual to the county manager by November 5th. And if we would please remind the commissioners through an email, Mr. Manager, and would ask that the committee meet. In addition to the 5 appointees by the county commissioners, I propose that the county's animal care department director be on the committee. I also believe that the county manager should appoint Mr. Pete Bernalillo, who is a former chief deputy district attorney and assistant city attorney, to chair this committee. I have spoken to Mr. Bernalillo. He is very well versed in community affairs and keeping people on the right side of the law. So that is my instruction to the manager. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Commissioner Hart-Stebbins.